Welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the lunar nodes. This is going to be a video that's going to be part of a series which I'm developing, and there will be more videos coming on later about lunar nodes as well. If we haven't met before, my name is Alison. I'm an astrologer in Vancouver, Canada. When I first started learning astrology years ago, I wasn't that keen on lunar nodes. To me, it didn't seem to make sense because it wasn't a planet, because the planets are where the energies are. But over time, I've got to understand the lunar nodes a little better. I think it's something that you perhaps have to develop yourself into. And being really a solar Leo type person, I do prefer to follow eclipses and the sun's movements during the course of the year, rather than focus on lunar nodes, which are, of course, they are created from the moon's nodes. So this took me a while to get into, and it may do for you too. You may not find every part of astrology super interesting, as I don't necessarily, but this was one area, the actual lunar nodes, where I found that over time it did get better, and I did really start to understand it. So I'm doing a short series here on lunar nodes. So in this video we're going to be looking at the basics of lunar nodes. Where do they come from? Where are they calculated from, and some basic interpretations and meanings and keywords for the two lunar nodes. Okay, so where the lunar nodes come from. First, let's have a look at the lunar node glyphs. So the north node looks like this. It's actually very similar to the symbol for the business Lululemon, and then the south node is drawn like this. So you will see these two symbols on charts, and the actual luminous path intersection where the sun's path is, which is known as the plane of the ecliptic, shown here in yellow. The sun goes round and we see it up in the sky, and then when the moon's path is angled at 5 degrees to the plane of the ecliptic. So the moon's path intersects the sun's path twice a month as the moon is going round. And when the moon is crossing the plane of the ecliptic moving north, we get the north node, and when it is crossing the plane of the ecliptic moving south 2 weeks later, we get the south node. So the nodes are always opposite each other in a chart. Let's have a look at this lunar nodal axis. The north node is at one end and the south node is at the other. So in this example chart, you will see that the north node is there at 13 degrees 22 Taurus, and the south node is at directly opposite at 13 degrees 27 Scorpio, because the nodes are opposite each other, as we saw from the moon's path. So this is always the case, that the nodes will always be opposite each other in a chart. So let's set the type of lunar node that we are looking at. I am using Astrogold. It's the app for Astrogold for iPhone and iPad. So you go to Settings, Chart Calculations, Lunar Node Type. This is how you set up the type of lunar node you'll want to use. And in my example here, this is the actual screen that you get. So we're going to the lunar node type, and you'll see that there are two types. We have the mean node and the true node. So in this particular chart, I have the mean node checked, which you can see the little tick mark there, and the node is at 13 degrees Scorpio 46. And then in the exact same chart, if we look at the true node, we will see that the node is at 13 degrees 22. So there is a difference between the mean node and the true node, and it does depend what you're doing. And the question will come up often with astrologers, should I use the mean node or the true node? And really, it's up to you, but this is how I do it. So I mainly use the mean node for everyday astrology, natal and forecasting, because why we have a mean node and a true node is because the node is actually wobbling a little bit. I also then use the true node for eclipse work and eclipse forecasting, because eclipses occur where the two luminaries' paths intersect, and you have to be exact for an eclipse. So you can see in an ephemeris that the nodes could be stationary, direct, or retrograde. So the ephemeris will give the exact movement of the nodes. So we can see here in this example for October 22, it's retrograde, then it's direct, and then it's retrograde, and you can see that the nodes are actually wobbling slightly, quivering slightly, but over the course of a month, really, it moves virtually within 1 degree. These are not massive moves, and this is why we are able to use the mean node in general astrology, because we are talking minutes and in some points seconds of change. The difference between the true node and the mean node can be very small, although it could be significant, but generally that's why we are able to use the mean node, because it just smooths out the curve of the actual nodes as they are moving around the zodiac. In this chart here, the mean node is at 047 Taurus retrograde and 047 Scorpio retrograde. That is the mean node. And if we look at the exact same chart now with the true node, we can see that this is now 1 degree 51 Taurus direct and 1 degree 51 Scorpio direct. So although it can change position slightly as well, it can also change direction, because the true node is the only one that could be direct. The mean node is always retrograde, because we are smoothing out the curve. It really is your choice, and once you understand what you're doing, you can do it either way. But as I say, I take the mean node for general astrology because it's just easier. And if you're doing eclipse work, you have to use the true node. So what about some nodal speed? So the nodes take approximately 18.6 years to precess the zodiac. This means that they are slowly creeping backwards through the zodiac signs. So nodal return. So if we realize that they're moving, you're going to get a nodal return at around age 19, 38, 56, 75, and 94 years of age. You will receive a nodal return as the nodes move back into the same position they were in your birth chart. So those are known as nodal returns. And of course, you have to check those dates as well. So the North Node is also known as the Dragon's Head or Caput Draconis. Let's have a look at some North Node keywords. We have connections to new people, meetings and get-togethers, anything that happens at a hub, like even like computer routers, but at airports where you go to meet and there's actually a main hub of energy. It also shows your current incarnation or this life. This is the North Node. It shows your karmic objectives in this life. It absolutely has to do with consciousness and being aware. The North Node shows your future path, where you're going. And in so doing, it shows your destiny and how you're going to evolve. So these are all main keywords for the North Node. So it's a place of future, and where you are, the idea being that you are facing towards your North Node and walking towards it. If we now look at the South Node, this is known as the Dragon's Tail or Cauda Draconis. Apologies for my Latin there. And some South Node keywords. We have connections with people from your past. This is from where you came. This is anybody from your past will tend to pop up when you have maybe a transit to your South Node or something like that. The South Node shows what you already know, and it's information and knowledge that you brought into this life with you. So we want to talk about historical knowledge, ancestral knowledge, and human knowledge too. The South Node is also clearly about your past, what you did, how things were, and so on. And not just your past in this life, but your past in previous lives. It shows past incarnations and past lives, which is what I've said. If you're into that, South Node has to do with unconsciousness and the subconscious, and it shows unconscious behaviors and things that you are just doing automatically without even thinking. It also shows where stagnation can take place in your life. So this means that it can be a place really where you can be held back by your past experiences, past beliefs, or past lives. Right, so we've gone over basics of lunar nodes. We've got some, we now have an understanding of where they come from, where they're actually, how they're moving through the zodiac, and some basic keywords for lunar nodes. So you can now go and look at your chart and see where your nodes are and start exploring them in a more meaningful way. As I said, I will be producing more videos in this series on lunar nodes because it's a super interesting part of astrology. And it's about how to read a chart, because the idea is that there are many factors in a chart, many features in a chart, and you can't understand everything at once. So take your time, take it in bite-sized chunks, and start to learn how to interpret lunar nodes for yourself. I'll let you know that my lunar nodes are in Libra and Aries, and I'll be interested to know where your lunar nodes are too. You can write that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like it, or share it with anybody who would be interested. It does help me grow. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Alison Price. I'll see you next time.